Zimbabwe printed a $100 trillion bill. Not million, not billion, trillion. And it couldn't even buy you a loaf of bread. You think going broke is bad? Try being an entire country. No credit card to max out, no parents to call, just national collapse. Today we're looking at countries that actually went bankrupt, what that even means, and why it's way more insane than you think. First, quick reality check. Countries can't technically file for Chapter 11 like a guy named Kevin who bought too many Funko Pops. There's no bankruptcy court for nations. But they can default on their debt, which is basically the government version of ignoring your credit card bills until they stop calling. When a country borrows money from other countries, banks, or random investors, they promise to pay it back with interest. But sometimes they just can't or won't, and that's when things get spicy.
Let's start with Argentina, the country that's gone bankrupt so many times it's basically a hobby at this point. They've defaulted on their debt 9 times since 1800. 9! The most recent? 2020. Middle of the pandemic, Argentina just said, yeah, we're not paying that back on $65 billion. The wildest part? Investors keep lending them money anyway because apparently nobody learns. The peso lost so much value that people literally use US dollars for everything instead. Your own currency becomes a meme in your own country.
Then there's Greece in 2010. They joined the EU, started spending like they were Zeus himself, and then the bills came due. Turns out they'd been lying about their finances the whole time, cooking the books harder than a Greek restaurant. The EU and IMF had to bail them out with over $300 billion, but with insane conditions. Massive spending cuts, tax hikes, pension slashes. Unemployment hit 27%. People were protesting in the streets for years. And here's the kicker, they're still paying it back. Some of that debt doesn't mature until 2070. There are kids being born in Greece right now who will inherit a country still paying for 2010.
But if you want true financial horror, we gotta talk about Zimbabwe in the 2000s. This wasn't just a default. This was economic apocalypse. Inflation got so bad, they were printing $100 trillion bills. Prices doubled every 24 hours. A loaf of bread cost 300 billion Zimbabwe dollars. People needed wheelbarrows of cash to buy groceries. Eventually, they just gave up and abandoned their own currency entirely. They now use US dollars, South African rand, basically anything but Zimbabwe dollars. Imagine your country's money becoming so worthless you have to use someone else's. And this isn't just old history. Lebanon collapsed in 2020-2022. Banks froze everyone's accounts. People literally couldn't access their own money. The currency lost 95% of its value. Electricity runs maybe 2 hours a day. Doctors, engineers, teachers, educated people started leaving the country in droves because their salaries became worthless overnight. A doctor making what used to be $3,000 a month was suddenly making the equivalent of $150. This is what a modern country going broke actually looks like. Not some historical documentary, but people with smartphones filming empty ATMs and dark streets. So what actually happens when a country goes bankrupt? 1. Nobody will lend you money anymore. Or if they do, the interest rates are insane. Argentina was paying 40% plus interest on bonds at one point. 2. Your currency becomes toilet paper. Savings evaporate. Imports become impossible because nobody trusts your money. 3. Social collapse. Pensions disappear. Hospitals run out of supplies. Brain drain as smart people leave. And 4. You become a meme. Investors call it country risk. Your nation gets a credit score and it's in the dumpster. The crazy part? Countries almost always survive this. Argentina's on default number 9 and still kicking. Greece is still there. Even Zimbabwe eventually stabilized. Because here's the thing. Countries can't disappear. They can't file bankruptcy and start over. They just keep existing in this weird zombie state until eventually someone lends them money again because the world needs them to function. It's like that friend who always borrows money and never pays you back, but you keep lending to them anyway because you've known them since kindergarten, and it'd be weird if they just vanished. Except it's billions of dollars and entire population suffering.